Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and on today's video we'll be taking a look at the Zyxel Multy M1 WSM20 multi-node mesh Wi-Fi kit, which actually doesn't cost a great deal of money, but gives you excellent performance. Keep watching to find out more. Okay, so in today's video we're taking a look at the Zyxel Multy M1. This is a multi-node mesh kit, which is actually available in various different flavours. So if you just want a single mesh unit or access point, then you can buy just a single unit on its own, or you can buy a twin pack, or potentially you can do what we've done and go for the triple pack. Now, at the time of purchasing this was available on ebuyer.com here in the United Kingdom for around about £90 to £100 with postage. Although that was a special offer and prices have risen very slightly since actually receiving this. Now it's around about 130. Amazon are still selling it as well, and if you do want to, you can actually add additional nodes. So if you maybe have a much larger house and want to add maybe 4, 5, 6 of these things and dot them all around the house, then you certainly can do, but you can buy the individual units and bolt them on additionally. Or if funds are a little bit tighter and you maybe just want to pick up a dual pack and then add to it later, that is something you can do also. Some of the cool features about this is the fact that it just basically supports some really good standards. So it supports up to Wifi6, and I'll give you some information about the actual specifications on the screen now so you can see what it supports. So you're looking at dual band, both 5 GHz and 2.4 GHz. So if you're using some older smart devices or devices which don't support the newer 5 GHz spectrum, then you can still use those with no problems at all. And it does give you the option of actually splitting the bands, so you don't have to have all of your Wi-Fi on one specific SSID. You can actually rename it. So in our particular instance, all of our smart devices on the 2.4 GHz band are on a separate SSID called Smart, and then we have a main one for the rest of the house, which is going to be the 5 GHz. So lots of flexibility, and in this video we're going to go through, show you the ports, do a general unboxing, show you what you actually get, and we'll take a very brief look at the app on the mobile. And also you can access this from a IP address on a Windows or Macintosh, Linux machine, etc. That is one of the key features of this. There are a lot of routers or mesh kits on the market which will only allow you to connect via an app, which can be a little bit frustrating and also does lack some of the features that you may find on a desktop version, but ultimately it's going to be down to you. But for me personally, having the option of either checking what is going on with the network via my mobile phone, if I've got my mobile phone in front of me, or if I'm sat down at a PC, it gives me the ultimate in flexibility. Another thing which may appeal to some people is the fact this supports OPENWRT, which is basically a kind of open source router source code or application. So you can actually flash the BIOS on these and actually turn them into a different router altogether. Obviously, that will invalidate the warranty, and it isn't necessarily for the faint-hearted, but potentially if you do want to go down that route, then you certainly can do. So first of all, let's take a quick look at the packaging. So as you can see, this is the 3-node version, as you can see there, so the Multi M1, and on the side, gives you some information in multiple languages. On the back, a little bit more about what it can actually do and how you potentially might want to set this up in the home. So splitting the nodes up across your living area to provide you the best access. It also talks about the application which you can use on your smartphone, either Android or iOS, or again, potentially you can use it on a PC just using an IP address. On the other side, we've got the specifications, so I'll leave that on the screen for you. If you want to pause it to get a better look, you certainly can do. Something else this is going to give you the option for is actually bridging mode as well. So you can actually have these Wi-Fi units placed pretty much wherever you want to, as long as they are within receiving reach of other meshes. Then you can plug in wired devices and connect those up. So if you've got maybe an older set-top box or some particular device that you want to keep on a wired connection, then you certainly can do that. So if you're going with the 3-pack, then you are going to get a twin pack and also an additional single pack. Obviously, if you're going to go for a single one, you're going to get that. If you go for a twin pack, you're going to get that. If you go for a 3-pack, you're going to get all 3 together. It's pretty self-explanatory, but let's take a look at the individual boxes and see what we get. So in the single pack one, as you can see, basically tells you more of the same. So whole home Wi-Fi mesh network coverage, AX1800 optimized efficiency and throughput. You've got flexible connection for wired and wireless, as we mentioned already. Easy to install and manage with the Multi app, which you can do, and designed to be mounted anywhere. So something which actually is included inside the box is actually an additional mounting bracket. So for some people, they don't necessarily want this on a desk, then you may want to have it wall mounted somewhere out of reach. Then you can use this bracket. There are some included screws and some wall plugs. So you can just mount this onto a wall, clip the unit into there and keep it out of harm's way. That might be beneficial for some of you, but otherwise, yeah, just leave it in the box. Other things you get inside the box are obviously the operating instructions and a guide to tell you what the flashing LEDs mean and to guide you through that. So if there's any errors or anything, you can tell from the LEDs on the front of the unit what is actually going on. Now, as you can see on our particular unit at the moment, we have a solid dark green light. Technically it's dark green. There are two versions of green. There's a light green, which they refer to as lake green. I don't understand that at all, but anyway. So you have green solid, which means it's got a good connection, it's working fine. If it's flashing green, it's doing updates or starting. If it's pale green, that is the boot up process. There's a red LED, which pretty much means that there's no connectivity, so you need to look at what's going on in your network. And also there is a kind of pinky purple mode as well, which is for the WPS or the actual pairing mode, of which is done very easily. So once you've got your first unit set up, which we'll talk about a little bit later, you can just grab your next unit, plug it into the mains. When it's booted up and you've got a lake green light, which is a light green light, you can press and hold the WPS button on the front there and wait until it starts flashing pinky purple color, and then it's basically synchronizing with the other mesh units. I should also mention, if you do buy the twin pack, you do get a LAN cable with it as well. The single pack for some reason doesn't come with the Cat5 cable, so if you want to connect up to your cable modem or whatever, then you will need a cable of such, so do check that out from the actual listings. But when it comes to the unit itself, it's actually pretty cool, very nice looking, almost like a very small Nintendo Wii, not very big at all, pretty easy to hide out of the way. Some of you are going to be asking this question straight away, and I know I was certainly a little bit concerned. Obviously that light on the front is a little bit too much, and if you've got maybe one of these in a bedroom or maybe just by the side of your TV, you don't necessarily want a green light blasting out at you, don't worry. On the back with the buttons there is an LED on off button, so press that button and in theory, yes, there you go, the LED is now extinguished, which means you think it's not on, but it is actually working. There isn't actually a physical on-off switch on this particular device, which was something which confused me to begin with, because when I was setting it up in a secondary unit upstairs, the button was pressed in and there was no lights on it, and I was plugging in the power and I was like, there's nothing going on. So don't worry about it too much. If there is any faults with the system, then it will actually override the LED being off. So when the switch is in the off position, as it is now, if for some reason there was a lack of connectivity, the red LED would still come on, or if it's doing a firmware update, it would flash the lights to tell you there is something happening. So don't worry about that too much. If you've got it in the off mode, but you still get the light come on every now and then, it's just because it's lost connectivity, which shouldn't happen, but potentially it can do at some points. So looking at the back of the unit, so you've got your power input, which comes from a barrel jack input. There is a power supply included. The power supply has an approximately 2 meter length on it, so you may need to take that into consideration where you're actually placing this. Of course, you can use extensions should you need to. Next to that, you've got your 4 LAN ports. Now these are actually pretty cool because they're all gigabit. Most of the time on routers and modems these days, they tend to be 10100, which is a little bit outdated these days, especially with faster internet speeds. So having 4 gigabit Ethernet ports is extremely handy. Something I should mention as well, one of them is marked up as a WAN/LAN. So WAN/LAN is for your internet access, so coming from your cable modem or whatever modem you're using, and the others are just general purpose LAN ports. Something I did find is if you actually, on your additional mesh units, if you plug in the LAN cable into the WAN LAN, as if you're doing some sort of backhaul, then potentially you might get some issues. I personally did, so make sure if you're using this in a secondary room, somewhere else in the house, plug it into one of the other LAN ports just to avoid any conflicts. It shouldn't do it, but for me it did, and it caused some issues logging into my NAS, but other than that it's absolutely fine. You've got a reset button there, so push and hold that in with a little pin like you do with SIM card eject trays, that sort of thing, and you can reset the unit should you need to. And again, we've got that button on the top there to toggle the lighting on or off. On the bottom there is a little section there, stand with some rubberized pads on there to keep it nice and steady. And also it does have the details on there of the MAC addresses and also the IDs of the unit. So as default, when it comes out of the box, it has its own specific ID number, which you can connect to via Wi-Fi and then do your connection, etc., or connect to it via the IP address. This just unclips, you can push that in and replace that with the wall mount should you need to. So in terms of the actual unit itself, I'm going to plug it back in now and you can watch it booting up in real time. It does take a little while to actually boot itself up and find the rest of the network, as you'll see. So at the moment we've got the lake green light, or I think they mean light green, but lake green kind of works for me. I've not actually seen any lakes that look that colour, but potentially you might have. So this will come on, it will start flashing to say it's connecting, and then eventually you're waiting for that light to go a solid green colour. It may go flashing green if it's doing setups or other things like that. As you can see, it's now flashing. So it does take a little while to boot up. The processor in these isn't anything spectacular. It's 880 megahertz and it is only a dual core. You do have 256 megabytes of RAM, actually a storage in there. So yeah, that's absolutely fine. And if you go into the app, you can see how the CPU and the RAM is doing, depending on how many additional things you have running, such as port forwarding and all those kinds of things. So there we go, the unit is now fully booted up. So probably a good chance now. Let's go over to the computer and we'll take a look at the interface so you can see what you can actually do and take a look at some of those features. Okay, so this is the web interface, so you can log in. Now, the good thing about this is you can actually use two versions of logging in. So you can log in with the My Zyxel Cloud account. So if you're accessing this from externally, i.e. not on your local network, you can use this if you want to. And also you can log in with a local password. So some people may have issues, their internet may have an outage. So you've got the choice of both, which is actually pretty cool. So let's log in with our local password. And then when you log in, it will load up all your details and information. So you can see there we've got our main Wi-Fi. So there's our 2.4 gigahertz, which we've got split from the rest. So we've got a 5 gigahertz there. And you can go in, configure those, change them, etc. Or if you want to, you can just disable the Wi-Fi. If you have some sort of issue, you just blast that and turn it straight off. You've also got your network. So it shows the internet is working and it's connected. You've got your devices, the actual hubs themselves, and you've got your main network there saying that there's 24 devices currently connected to the main network. You can have a guest network should you wish to. You can enable or disable that. For security purposes, I've disabled it, but again, if you want to, you can do. And just easy as giving it a name, giving it a password, and toggling it on or off. Clicking on the next bit, you can see the actual connectivity as well. So currently our CPU usage is 43%. It was about 25, but yeah, so that's about halfway, that's fine. Memory usage again, 62%. And also, very cool thing, it shows you your LAN port status for your main hub. So your connectivity, so currently our WAN connection has a gigabit connection to our cable modem. LAN port 3, LAN port 2 are empty, and LAN port 1 also has a 1 gigabit connection, which is then going into a 2.5 gigabit hub and then splitting around some other devices in that area. So you can see there CPU usage is moving up and down. So that is the kind of the general overview. So you can go in and do things like parental control. So if you want to, you can go into parental control and basically add devices to a part of this section. You can group them together and you can choose whether they're on guest network or main, and you can sort by name or by MAC address. So if you're looking for a specific device, it will tell you in there. I've blurred most of this out, obviously for security reasons, but hopefully you get the general idea. You can also change the language, top corner here, and log out there. And this hamburger menu, if you click on that, then you can get to all the quick features. So the overview, diagnose, parental control, the mesh system, the OpenVPN server. So you can actually configure this as an OpenVPN server for access. And also you can set up the OpenVPN clients. And if you go into settings, you've got more options for your internet, your Wi-Fi, your LAN, your firewall, and the main system itself. So something which some of you may want to use is the mesh section. And it basically tells you MAC addresses, and currently, if it says there's nothing there, the backhaul is wired. And the middle one currently is the one on the desk at the moment where we're filming, and you see it's got a perfect signal between the meshes, currently at -71 dBm. You can, if you want to, go into more and find out more information, such as things like the IP address of the unit, all those kinds of things, restart it, delete it, etc, etc. If you go into one of the ones which is wired on the backhaul, again you see the same sort of thing, it tells you the IP addresses and whether you've got IP6 enabled, those kinds of things. Pretty basic, but it gets the job done. So if you go into diagnose, You can do speed tests and see what is actually going on. So let's click on test now. This does take a little while, so we'll probably fast forward through this. Okay, so now we'll take a look at the app on the mobile. So this is the Multy app. You log into it. It's pretty straightforward once you've set it all up. You can connect to it using the QR codes, etc. You can go into your home network. You can display a home picture should you wish to. It will tell you about your connected devices and all that sort of stuff. So you've got your primary multi, your rear, middle, etc. And essentially it's pretty much exactly the same as the app, the web-based one. So you've got the hamburger menu, you can go and do diagnose, web configurator, etc. Your settings, information, all that kind of stuff. Network map. Network map might be useful for some people if you're working out how it's connected. So currently, as you can see on the screen there, so we've got our main internet coming in, which is wired. It then is wired to our rear satellite. As you can see, the solid line, and the wireless is connected to this one. As you can see, it is clearly no wires connected, but it is still functioning as a router. So that is the beauty of it. If you want to put this somewhere where there's no wires, no anything, but you just need that little bit of extra Wi-Fi access, as long as it is within that kind of mesh bubble, and it can actually receive a signal from one of the other nodes, then this will act as kind of like a repeater node with wireless backhaul. If you want to make it faster for LAN traffic, then you can add a cable to it, maybe some wireless plugs, plug them into the wall, that sort of thing, or just run a direct Cat5 or Cat5e cable, I suppose is probably better, straight to the unit, and you can get much better speeds. Also on the app for the phone, you can also do speed tests, etc. Obviously you're going to be limited to whatever your phone will actually do. So if your phone hasn't got a particularly modern chipset on it for Wi-Fi, then you're not going to get the greatest speeds, but you can do some speed tests. From all the tests we've done, we are able to run 4K video streaming from this with these nodes, no problem whatsoever. Okay, so there you go. Unfortunately, there is some roadworks going on. We're actually having our street outside the house resurfaced at the moment, so if you can hear some low frequency rumbling or noises, I do apologise. It's not that I haven't had my breakfast, it is machinery, I guarantee you. Anyway, so this has been the Zyxel Multy M1 mesh kit. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video, and hopefully it's given you some idea of what this actually can do. Clearly there's going to be some things you may not have seen or you may not be completely clear about. If that is the case, please do get in touch, comment section below, or drop me an email, mike@mikesunboxing.com. If you want a faster response, then head over to our Discord and you can ask questions in there. I'm going to be running this as my daily driver now for the foreseeable, because basically it ticks all the boxes I need. It's got great reception, great signal. In fact, we didn't really touch on that a great deal at all. The wireless signal is excellent. The actual roaming feature, so if you come into the front of the house and it's connected to the front router, then you move into the middle of the house or whatever and you go through the house, the system will actually select the strongest signal. So it'll automatically hop from mesh to mesh as you move around the house. And actually going out into our garden isn't the biggest garden, but it's somewhere in the region of about 70 foot. So actually going out into the garden, I can still get a signal. We've got a mesh unit towards the back of the house, and even right at the very end of our garden, I'm still getting 2, maybe 3 bars on the signal, and speeds are absolutely fine. So if potentially you've got some outdoor cameras that you want to connect up, then this could be a real benefit to that sort of thing, giving you that extra kind of distance on your mesh system. And again, the speeds are excellent. I would suggest, depending on your internet speeds, obviously these are going to be limited. They're only up to Wi-Fi 6 and you're looking at a certain level. So anything over gigabit internet, I would say you probably want to be looking something a little bit higher up the range. But I think for the majority of users who are on sort of like a 200 megabyte, 500 megabyte system, a megabit I should say, sorry, these are going to be absolutely fine. And yeah, the speed benefits of having gigabit Ethernet actually on the wired is really good. Won't be long now until hopefully we get 2.5 gigabit Ethernet built in. That'll be absolutely fantastic. But again, the internet's going to have to catch up with that. But yeah, overall, I think for the money, for the 3 units, I have seen these as low as about £35–40 each. So if you just want the one and see how you get on with it, then it's a relatively cost-effective way of doing it, especially if you've got a slightly smaller house. And actually, just a single unit on its own still does cover pretty much most of our house with internet. So potentially that might be an option for you. But again, if you want that extra ability to have more IP ports or more wired ports in various places over your mesh, at the moment I can't find anything else on the market to come close to this in terms of price and flexibility. But what I think about it isn't really important. What you think about it is. So let us know what you think in the comments section below. I think that's going to wrap this one up. I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you after they've finished the roadworks. Thanks for watching.